Hi friends and welcome to the Hindu at 7. So my dear friends, this is the English version of the editorial analysis brought to you by Ada 247 and I am Saurabh. Now there have been some very interesting articles which I actually want to show you regarding today's editorial. But before we go that, let me remind you my dear friends that this particular session is extremely important for all those of you who are going to take the examination of SBI Clerk, Canara Bank and are also very much tensed about the upcoming Syndicate Bank. And not only that my dear friends, if you prepare well, if you want to take a look at this editorial really well, then this is going to be really very beneficial for you regarding your other exams like CLAT, CET and SSC as well. So do not miss this session. Now my dear friends, as we always do, let's take a look at the beautiful quote that we have here for you for some motivation. Okay, so the key is not the will to win. Everybody has that. It is the will to prepare to win that is important. Now, if you ask anybody that do they want to crack the examination or do they want to become a PO or do they want to become a clerk or do they want to become something in their life, then everybody is going to say, yes, I want to become this, I want to become that. But the main thing is that how many of you are willing to do the hard work, to undergo the hardships and to prepare really very well for the examination. Now, this is something that's the main point that one should focus upon. So that is why guys, it's extremely very important to have the will to prepare very well, to have the will to get that extra edge over the others so that you are able to complete the race and you are able to achieve what you want in life. So the key is not the will to win, it is the will to prepare to win. Always keep in mind because this is the one that is extremely important. Now my dear friends, we can come back to the center screen. And after that, we can definitely go to the e-paper for our review. Let's take a look at the e-paper, please. Okay, guys, so here's the e-paper for you, for all of you. Now, see, we have got some very interesting articles like I told you before as well. So, for the first one over here is, for India, it should be neighborhood first. Now, this is an article that's extremely important for all those of you who are preparing for UPSC examinations. So this is something that you should definitely not miss and go through this article for sure. But then again, from bank point of view, this is not that much of an article that you should study. All right. Then left over here is alliance divided. Now this is one thing that we had already taken a look before as well. I remember it very well because see, this is actually about the alliance of the Sri Lankan PM and the Sri Lankan president being divided. So this is something that we have studied before as well. Now let's go downstairs. So here's the point over here. Doctors for rural India. Now another very important article, very important medical article. So all those of you who are medical students or who perhaps went with PCB in their 12th, this is something that you guys are going to find really very interesting. So do take a look at this article and I am sure this will make you, this will teach you a lot of things for sure. Now at left over here is the first article that we will be analyzing today and that's directing reforms. So a lot of electoral reforms have been introduced of late and especially regarding the disclosure of income of the candidate. So we are going to analyze this article in depth today and I am sure that we are going to enjoy a lot because we shall analyze this article, we shall also solve questions based on this article and we shall also learn new vocabulary words as well. So a lot of fun is going to happen when we analyze this particular article. Now, let's see what's good on the next page. So, the voice of Pakistan's voiceless. Now, this is one thing, this is one article that is definitely an important article and all those of you who are extremely interested in IR or international relations, this is something that you should definitely take a look at. Now, at right over here is what is picture perfect. So another perhaps article from a journalistic point of view. So if you want, you can definitely take a look at this. Then another one that we are going to analyze today and a very important article, an educational article or an education based article is learning without regimentation. So this is perhaps regarding the compulsory attendance that has been placed in the GNU for the students. So definitely we are going to analyze the various viewpoints that has been given over here in this particular article. So guys, that was the overall review. Now we can come to back to the central screen. If we can do that, it will be really very good. Okay, so perhaps we just took a review of all the very important articles that we have today. Now, first of all, we are going to start with the first article of the day, and this is definitely about the electoral reforms. So, if I ask you that do you have interest in politics? Now, many of you might be like, no sir, we have got more important things to do than having interest in politics. But definitely, see, we live in a democracy. And since we are residing in a democracy, we should be aware about the various political practices that take place in our nation. And to make us aware, we have got this first article today. Let's take a look at the e-paper now. So, directing reforms. Now, it is only logical that the sources of income of candidates be disclosed. So, perhaps, there seems to be a reform that has come of late and which actually focuses on the sources of the income of candidates being disclosed. So, let's read more about this. Now, adding to the growing body of judicially inspired electoral reforms, the Supreme Court has imposed an additional disclosure norm for the candidates contesting elections. It has asked the centre to amend the rules as well as the disclosure form filed by candidates along with their nomination paper to include the sources of their incomes and those of their spouses and dependents. So, of late, the Supreme Court has imposed an additional disclosure norm. Disclosure means to bring forward, a norm means a rule. So, perhaps, the Supreme Court has brought out a new rule for the candidates who are contesting elections. It has asked the centre to amend the rules to correct the rules as well as the disclosure form filed by the candidates. So, the main thing over here is that now the candidates who are fighting elections, who are contesting elections, they'll have to, they'll have to show their sources of income, and not only their source of income, but also the sources of income for their spouses and dependents. So, this is a very interesting rule from my point of view. I think it's a very important and a nice step from the Supreme Court. What is your opinion? You can write your opinion in the comment section below the video. Now, so let's understand more over here. See, the court has also asked for the establishment of a permanent mechanism to investigate any unexplained or disproportionate increase in the assets of legislators during the tenure. Now, the verdict of the two-bench on the petition from the NGO Lok Prahari is one more in a long line of significant verdicts aimed at preserving the purity of electoral process. Now, it's not a big deal that, many a times this has been seen that once the particular candidate gets elected, and in the next 5 years of his own tenure, he is able to amass a lot of wealth. So, perhaps, the court has also taken, they have taken cognizance of this, and they have made sure that if any such incident is found where a particular legislator seems to be amassing wealth during his tenure, then that needs to be investigated extremely in a very proper manner. Now, this particular, all of this decision came while hearing a particular petition from an NGO called Lok Prahari. And the decision taken by the Supreme Court over here, or rather the verdict given by the Supreme Court over here, is actually one of the very important and significant verdicts which it had passed on recently, and which is aimed at preserving the purity and the sanctity of the electoral process. Now, let's understand more over here. What do you think? So, these include the direction to provide the nota option in voting machines and another striking down a clause that saved sitting legislators from immediate disqualification upon conviction. It has ruled that the act of voting is an expression of free speech and that it is a part of the fundamental right that voters are required to be informed of all relevant details about a contestant. Now, since we just told you that, there has been, this is another very significant verdict from the Supreme Court in ensuring the sanctity of the electoral process. The other important decisions of the Supreme Court have been providing the nota option in the voting machines, and also, a particular clause that saved the sitting legislators from going to jail in case they got convicted in any particular case. Now, why Supreme Court has said that that the candidates need to disclose all of their income and also the income of their spouse and the family and their dependents? Because the Supreme Court said very clearly that the act of voting is actually an expression of free speech, and the people and the general public which is going to elect a particular legislator, they have the full right to know the truth and they have the full right to know about their contestant. Now, let's understand more, and then perhaps we're going to take a look at the question that we have here for you. So, Now, this led to the rule that candidates should furnish details of any criminal antecedents, educational qualifications and assets. If disclosure of assets is mandatory, it is only logical that the sources of income are also revealed. And as it is often seen that there is a dramatic increase in the assets of candidate at every election over what was disclosed in the previous affidavits, it stands to the reason that any rise should be explained or probed. So perhaps, since the candidates before a particular contestant, he registers himself for the election, he has to declare about any criminal record that he had so far, or what exactly is his education qualification and what exactly is his assets. So now it's also very good and it's a very nice thing that they'll have to declare their source of income as well, because it's a very common thing to see that any particular legislator, he gets very rich the moment he comes into tenure. So this is a very good step, and if there is any certain amassing of wealth that is seen by any particular legislator during tenure, then that certain amassing of wealth must be explained well or should be proved for sure. So guys, we have studied quite well regarding this whole scenario and regarding this opening passage that we have taken today. Let's take a look at question number 1 and then we'll take a look at question number 2 as well. So can we have question number 1 right here? So which of the following is not true according to para 1? So we just studied para 1. Now what do you think? Which of the following is not true according to para 1? Now statement A says over here, adding to the growing body of judicially inspired electoral reforms, the High Court has imposed an additional disclosure norm for the candidates contesting elections. All right. Statement B says over here, the court has also asked for the establishment of a permanent mechanism to investigate any unexplained or disproportionate increase in the assets of the legislators during their tenure. Then statement C says it has ruled that the act of voting is an expression of free speech and that it is a part of its fundamental right, that voters are required to be informed of all relevant details about a contestant. Now, if you feel that option number 1 is the answer, then you should write in the comment section 1-1. If 2 is the answer, then write 1-2. If 3 is right, then write 1-3. If 4 is right, then write 1-4. And if option number 5 is correct, then you can write 1-5. I hope till now you would have answered the question correctly. Well, as far as the not true part is concerned, statement A, which has the High Court has imposed an additional disclosure. Well, we are talking about Supreme Court in this article, so the High Court is definitely wrong. Which means, my dear friends, option number 1, only A is correct for this particular question. Now, let's see question number 2. Next slide, please. So here's the next slide for you, my dear friends. So tell me, what exactly is the synonym for the word amend from the given options, which are lower, alter, worsen or depress? Now, let me analyze these options for you. Depress means extremely sad and at the lowest ebb of sadness, most probably. Worsen means something which was already bad. Now it got even more bad. So perhaps, bad to worse. So when something becomes even more bad, that's perhaps worse. And when something is so bad it cannot be recovered anymore, that's called worsen. All right, then alter is perhaps, to make some alterations or perhaps, to make some corrections, maybe something like that. Then lower means to lower something, take it to a lower level. All right, then amend basically means correction or to correct something. Now, if you take a look at all of these options and if you have to get a synonym, then only alter can be a possible synonym for the word amend, and I hope that you have mentioned the same in the comment section below the video. Alright guys, now let's come back to the e-paper and let's study more about this particular article. So far we studied about what exactly the candidates had to declare initially, and now what exactly do they have to declare and why do they have to declare that? Now let's understand more. So few will dispute that lawmakers amassing wealth or gaining unusual access to public funds and loans are concerned that the need to be addressed through new norms. Now, to give teeth to its order, the court has made it clear that non-disclosure of assets and their sources would amount to a corrupt practice under Section 123 of the Representation of People's Act 1951. So perhaps, Now, a very important point over here is that, see, only a few people are going to protest the fact that the legislators or politicians or lawmakers amassing wealth or gaining unusual access to public funds and loans are definitely problems that need to be addressed through new norms. All right, so perhaps they can be addressed with new norms, and to make sure that the court's order regarding disclosure of the income by the candidates is done for sure, is followed by them for sure. So, in order to give more teeth to its order, to make sure that its order gets implemented, the court has said that if any particular candidate who is going to contest an election, is not declaring his assets, then that will be considered as a corruption practice under the section 123 of the Representation of the People's Act of 1951. So, the court is extremely serious in this particular case. That's something very clear. Now, lest a question be raised whether the court's order to amend the relevant rules amounted to legislation, the bench has said it sees no legal or normative impediment, as the centre is empowered by the Act to frame rules in consultation with the Election Commission. The idea of sets of legislators and periodically examine them is laudable, but it is not clear that which authority will run it. So perhaps, the thing is that the court has been made very sure that this is one order that should be very clear to everybody and it should be followed by everybody, and the centre is empowered by the Act to frame rules while concerning the Election Commission as well. So perhaps now, if we see from the author's point of view, the idea of having a permanent mechanism in place to make sure that the candidates declare their assets, declare their sources of income and their criminal everything, now that's really very good. And perhaps from time to time, when the legislator is in place, when he is having his tenure, so time to time his various sources of income is also examined, and that's a really good fact. But exactly which authority is going to examine this particular amount of or income sources of the legislator, that's really not clear as of now. So let's see what's more given in this particular article. All right, see, the court envisions a body. The court envisions a body that would make recommendation for prosecution or disqualification based on its own findings. The centre and the Election Commission will have jointly addressed the issue. The larger message from the verdict is that a fully informed electorate and transparent candidature will be components of future elections in India. So perhaps, this is a body, the investigation body is still, in the vision of the court, and the court actually envisions this particular thing, this particular body, which is going to make sure and recommend any particular legislator for prosecution or disqualification based on its own independent findings. But till then, the centre and the Election Commission will have to jointly address this matter. The larger message that should be taken away from this particular Supreme Court verdict is that a fully informed electorate, a fully informed person who is going to the elections and acting as candidate, and transparent candidature will be a very important and significant components of the future elections in India, and that is something that should be welcomed by all. Now, let's take a look at question number 3 and question number 4 that we have here. Can we have question number 3, please? So, here's question number 3 for you, my dear aspirants. Now, which of the following is true according to Para? All right. So, see, statement A over here says that few will dispute that lawmakers amassing wealth or gaining unusual access to public funds and loans are concerns that need to be addressed through new norms. Then statement B says the idea of a permanent mechanism to collect data about the assets of legislators and periodically examine them is laughable. Then statement C says the centre and the Election Commission will have to jointly address the issue. Now, if you feel that option number 1 is the answer, then you can type over here or in the comment section below the video 3-1. If 2 is correct, you can type 3-2. If 3 is correct, then you can type 3-3. If 4 is correct, you can type 3-4. If 5th is correct, you can type 3-5. Okay, I hope till now you would have given your answers so far. Now, a very important point that you need to focus over here is that this is actually regarding being true. Which of the following is true, not the one which is not true. Which means, my dear friends, see, Option B, or rather statement B, which says, the idea is laughable, that is not true given the passage, because it said it is laudable and not laughable, which means, my dear friends, statement B is not true. That means we are left with statement A and C, which are true. And all those of you who chose option number 1, only C and A, you, my dear friends, have done a good job, because that is the correct answer. Now let's see question number 4. Next slide, please. So, what exactly is the antonym for the word laudable from the options which are commendable, creditworthy, disrespected, and praiseworthy? Well, commendable means, something which earns you a lot of respect and a lot of praise about something. Now, creditworthy is something, when you get, or any particular person gets the credit for doing something really very good, or whatever, let's just say that your department achieved something and you get the credit because of you, your department was able to achieve this particular achievement. Then disrespected is something that, obviously insult. Alright, disrespected means, getting insulted or something like that. And praiseworthy is once again, so when praises are showered on somebody, on you, for doing a good job, that's praiseworthy. Well, I hope till now you would have given your answers in the comment section below the video. The correct antonym for the word laudable. Laudable means, praiseworthy. So the antonym over here for the word laudable has to be option number 3, disrespected, and I hope you mentioned the same. So guys, we have already taken a look at the first article that we had today, and I hope that you understood the article well. Now, what do you think about the first article that was explained today? You can please write your own view in the comment section of the video. Now let's see the next section, or the next para, or the next article that we have here. Let's go back to the e-paper, please. So, learning without regimentation. Now, this is another para, this is another article that we have here today. So, let's learn about this now. Alright, so learning without regimentation. See, attending class in a research university should not be made compulsory. Now, the author's view about this particular article is very clear from the word go. The author feels that the attendance of a particular class, attending a particular class in a research-based university should not be compulsory. That's right away. So let's understand more. Most probably we got an idea over here that this particular article is about compulsory attendance anyway. So let's see about this. Okay, there is an ongoing debate among students in Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, about compulsory attendance. This is not a demand for the right to not attend the classes. All right. So perhaps, a recent demand. JNU has always been in news for one reason or the other. So of late, JNU is in news because of having a debate among the students regarding attending a particular class, regarding compulsorily attending a class. So this is actually not a demand from the students for not having the right, for not attending a class. So they are not demanding that we want to have a right for having an absentee from the class. It's not like that. So let's understand more. Rather, the protest against compulsory attendance aim to protect the university's academic culture, which emphasizes that learning is more than just a classroom presence. Where are the roots of this protest? So perhaps, the students over here are protesting the fact that, see, JNU's culture, the university's academic culture, emphasizes that, see, learning is more than just a classroom presence, because mainly it's a research university. So might be that's why this is the main base, or the platform of learning on which the platform of the learning of University of JNU is based. That, see, it's more than just a classroom practice. It's about getting education in a proper way. Now, what are the roots of this protest? Let's understand more about this particular article over here. So, see, first, absenteeism has never been a problem in JNU. Students attend classes across disciplines, not just in their own departments. Undergraduate students complement their core disciplines by attending lectures in allied disciplines at the master's level. So, perhaps, the first factor that needs to be addressed and understood over here is that, see, absenteeism has never ever been a problem in JNU. Then why exactly has this rule been in place in the first place? That's really very surprising and astonishing to understand. So students attend classes across disciplines, not just their own department. So there are various, disciplines that this particular student follows, and they follow this, and that's why not only in their own department but students also attend classes across various disciplines. Now undergrad students complement their own core disciplines by attending lectures in allied disciplines at the master's level as well. So their motive is the pursuit of learning. Second, there are questions regarding whether the statutes of statutes of the university has been followed rigorously in terms of reservations and seat allocations. Now, the circular announcing the introduction of compulsory attendance is considered by some to be an example of an amendment that was not tabled in the agenda of the academic council. So perhaps, see, the main pursuit of a student is actually to learn, not to sit in a class to attend the same. Now, a lot of questions have been raised regarding this particular status of the university, this particular statutes of the university as well, which actually has been followed rigorously in terms of reservations and seat allocations. Now, this circular, which has been of late is circulated in the JNU regarding compulsory attendance, is actually considered by some to be an example as an amendment or an improvement that was not tabled in the agenda of an academic council. So that's the point over here. Now, this raises concerns about apparently unilateral announcement of the measure. So perhaps, some problems of late, what happened that, one more addition was placed, and why was not this particular scenario or why wasn't this particular rule added earlier in the academic council? That's really very surprising. Third, when the students and faculty boycotted this order, the university administration is said to have terminated all fellowships forthwith. So, now this particular circular did not go well with the students, and not only with students but also did not go well with the faculty of the JNU. And when they boycotted, that's the student and the teachers jointly boycotted this order, the university administration of JNU is said to have terminated all the fellowships forthwith. Okay, now that's where it got really ugly. So guys, we'll move forward and we'll understand more of this very interesting article, but it's also very interesting to take a look at the questions that we have here for you. So let's take a look at the question, which is most probably a parajumble. So right here, it's right here for you. So guys, here's a very simple and a sweet looking 6-sentence parajumble. Now see, you simply have to find the first sentence first, and then you'll have to find the logical pairs, and then you have to align the parajumble. So start with your parajumble and pause the video right now. I hope you paused the video. Let's take a look at the answer now, at the order of the parajumble. So this is the correct order of the parajumble right here for you. It's E. First, absenteeism has never been a problem in JNU. Students, now what students? That's given in statement B. Attend classes across disciplines, not just in their own departments. Alright, then go forward. That's given in statement D. Undergrad students complement their core disciplines by attending lectures. That's very, very well. In what? In allied disciplines, given in statement F. In allied disciplines at the master's level, their motive is the pursuit of learning. That's very good. Now, additional information given in statement C, which says second, there are questions regarding whether the statutes of the university have been followed rigorously. That's given in statement A, rigorously in terms of reservations and seat allocations. So guys, this is the correct order of the parajumble, and I hope that you were able to make the same. Let's go forward and see the next question that we have here. So guys, here is the next word for you to give me the meaning of it. Now guys, what's the correct synonym for the word rigorously from the options of inadequately, incompletely, partially, or attentively? So what do you think is the correct order, the correct answer rather? Definitely you have your own time to give the answer. You can write your answers in the comment section of below the video. Okay, see, attentively is somebody, with full, when somebody does something with full attention, that's supposed to be done in attentively. Then partially is when something is done only in a half manner, not completely. Then incompletely is definitely, no, as the name suggests, incomplete. Then inadequately, when something is not done in the complete way or with the full adequate manner or suitable manner it was supposed to be done. So that's why it's inadequately. Well guys, I am sure that you would have been able to give your answers till now. It's option number 4, attentively, because rigorously means with full attention, with complete attention and in a complete, suitable and adequate manner. So it has to be option number 4, attentively. Now let's go back to the article that we have over here. Okay. So we were just talking about that. See, the administration is said to have terminated all the fellowships forthwith after the students and the teachers jointly boycotted their circular. So could they be unaware that students of the university come from a range of socio-economic backgrounds and rely upon their fellowships for basic sustenance, including mess food, photocopying services and book purchase? Fourth, stipulated conditions for drawing fellowships do not require compulsory attendance. Now see, there are two factors that need to be taken into consideration from the university facts. Let's see, first of all, if this order was not followed by a handful of students, then why exactly was the fellowship removed or terminated from all students? Because see, there are a number of students in the JNU and they come from a range of socio-economic backgrounds, and perhaps they actually depend on these fellowships, which has been terminated right away. These fellowships, the students, the various socio-economic students, they depend, on this fellowships for their basic sustenance like mess food and photocopying services and book purchases. Then fourth, another very important point over here is that, see, when as far as fellowships is concerned, drawing fellowship does not require compulsory attendance, and that's something that the university should take into consideration because before taking such steps. Now see, in this regard, the administration's move stands outside of its own rules. So fifth, almost all courses use other methods to encourage and ascertain that students participate in the process of learning, including regular sessional examinations, term papers, class presentations, and also continuous assessment in the form of class participation. So perhaps, now see, at one hand, it's the university's rule is that, see, for drawing fellowship, you are not required to have a compulsory attendance. Now, but all of a sudden, because the attendance was made compulsory and students boycotted, the fellowship was terminated. So what exactly does the university want? Because they are actually taking steps which are two contradictory steps to their own rule. Rule number 1 says for fellowship, attendance not compulsory, and rule number 2 all of a sudden says if your attendance is not there, then definitely your fellowship is terminated. So what exactly do they want? Then on the other point over here, see, already as far as the class participation is concerned, there are various processes in step already, including regular sessional examinations, term papers, class presentations, and continuous assessments in the form of class participation. So this is already there. Then why exactly does the university administration of JNU want to make sure, or in fact, they want to pressurize the students into attending the class no matter what happens? And the very interesting fact over here is that this particular circular has not only been rejected by the students, it also has been rejected by the faculty of the JNU. So definitely the JNU administration needs to think upon its decision. So definitely, see, that's the process over here, and we have got the entire article based on the same thing. I hope you got the theme of the article, because the next question is about the theme. Can we have the next question, please? So guys, what is the theme of the paragraph? Option number 1 is necessary attendance of teachers at JNU. Option number 2 is necessary attendance of students at JNU. Option number 3, protest against necessary attendance by students. Then option number 4 is protest against necessary attendance by teachers. And option number 5 is protest against teachers and students. So whatever is your answer, you can write in the comment section. If you feel number 1 is the answer, you can write 7-1. If you feel number 2 is correct, you can write 7-2. If you feel number 3 is correct, then you write 7-3. If you feel number 4 is correct, you can type 7-4. And if you feel number 5 is correct, you can type 7-5. So guys, I hope till now you would have answered the question correctly. It has to be option number 2, necessary attendance of students at JNU. Now guys, let's see the last question of this particular article that we have over here. So what exactly is the antonym for the word stipulate? And the options right here, they are wish, designate, covenant, postulate. So now postulate means to think, or to think on something very seriously, to calculate various aspects of some particular thing. Then covenant is once again, to make sure to think about the various aspects of a particular thing before taking any decisions, and then designate designate a particular factor to something, or before taking any particular decision to designating this thing to that, or to allotting some particular thing to some other thing. Then wish all of a sudden means to wish something to happen without any possible logical calculation or any possible stipulation or thinking. So stipulate, by the way, means to think well on any particular thing, to postulate well on any particular thing. Now, since you have to get an antonym for the word stipulate, it has to be option number 1, wish. So guys, that was all in our today's session of Hindu at 7. If you want to take a look at the Hindi version of the article, its link is also mentioned in the comment section. You can take a look from there. And definitely, we have not been able to provide you the PDF of late. Well guys, I'm really sorry about this. From today onwards, you shall get the PDFs of the Hindu editorial analysis as well. And it will be there in the comment section of today's video. So till we meet the next time, peace out.